Can you hear me? Can you please confirm يا مولانا الشيخ نبيل? السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أيوة الحمد لله. الحمد لله رب العالمين. كيف حالكم جميعا؟ How are you يا مشايخ؟ الحمد لله, everything is clear. Yes, everything is good. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين, والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين, وبعد. You see, الحمد لله رب العالمين, the المدرسة الحنبلية offers courses in a very old-fashioned way. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. You choose what you want to study, not because we encourage you to follow your desires, not because of this, but because we want you to understand that it's your responsibility. I think in the academic world, you get to choose certain courses, like elective courses that you take. It's based on what you prefer. But in the end, you will not graduate unless you finish a certain amount of credit, like certain number of credit hours or so, or certain subjects studied and everything. So sometimes the issue becomes that you choose what you want, and we offer a lot of things. Then you choose what you want, you study it, you finish it, especially if it's something that you like. The best we can do is that we say there is a prerequisite. You have to study this before that. In the future, we all expect it to be different. We all expect it to be, there is a curriculum, not a university, but this year, you, not your friend or peer, you in particular, you have to study this. You have a job, you do not have a job, you are qualified, you're not qualified, you are really clever, you are an intermediate. It's based on your level. You see, in the future, inshallah, it will be more organized. Not that we see what we have right now as a weakness or deficiency. It will be more organized because we want more people to be Hanbali, and we want more people to be scholars. Jamil. But there is always a problem. Imagine if we are doing all this, and then we have a website, and we have everything, and people come from everywhere, and we have mashayikh, and we have students, and everything. A whole project. And what do you want to become? Faqih, Hanbali, muhaddith, logician. Yeah? You wouldn't care enough. You would never care enough to study what a shaykh is, who the shaykh is, who the student is, what a student is. And this makes us encounter a lot of problems. You do not know what I'm doing, and you do not know what you are supposed to do. You're just interested in learning the Hanbali fiqh. Hanbali fiqh is just an example. Ulum al-Hadith, the books of Sidi Abdul Qadir, something that Ibn Qudama wrote in Al-Aqidah. You want to learn this in Al-Aqidah because you had that debate on social media. صح? Most of the time it's like this, which is good. Not social media debates, they are never good. But which is a good idea. You want to study something because you interacted with this idea or the counter idea or so, and you need to learn. This is a very good step. What else would you do if you do not learn? This is a very good step. But again, how do you learn? This is called the Madrasa al-Hanbaliyya, the Hanbali school. It's not called university, and it's not school that teaches grade 7 and 8, right? So what is this? Who is this person or any other person? Who is the one who repeats the dars? You do not know about these things. So we get things like, but before this, if you expect that this is a university, you're mistaken. This is wrong. This is not a university. Every word that I say, and every word that you say, every question that I ask, or reply that I give, and every question you ask, or reply that you give, has to follow a protocol. This protocol is known from books that are dedicated to this subject. We do not usually, the admins will just announce anything and people will come. We will start, we will finish. We finished, I think 6 months ago I asked Shaykh Musa to tell me the books I finished, and we found something like 30 something books, if I remember correctly. We finished a lot of books. So do you understand what we are doing here? Yani, for instance, do you understand that in certain cases I am prohibited? This protocol prohibits that I teach and prohibits that you listen, and that you have to be in a certain state that qualifies you to listen, to receive, or to give. Do you understand these? I never attended a book that explains these things, but I attended real durus with the real mashayikh, not while, which this is a very good thing. If you take care of your baby, for instance, while listening to the dars, or if you take care of your household while listening to the dars, this is a very good thing. I'm not criticizing this, but the fact is, I didn't have these things when I attended the durus. Why? Because I went to Al-Jama'ah Al-Azhar Al-Sharif, or to the schools, to the schools around Jama'ah Al-Azhar Al-Sharif, and I didn't face any of these problems because I was somewhere else, and I was with the Shaykh, and I saw the Shaykh, or I waited for him and he never came. And when we asked, he said, "You came for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are rewarded. You didn't come for me." So these things taught us indirectly what other scholars like Ibn Jama'ah wrote in a book. We agreed with the mashayikh in the madrasa to divide this book into parts. The first part, we finished it and it was fine. The second part is the most important part, and it tells you about the manners of the shaykh. But I am the student, so we should teach this to the mashayikh. No, this book is done so that a student learn from it. You need to know about the manners of the shaykh so that you choose your mashayikh. What happens when you see us online? Hanbali school, they are good, let's register with them, let's sign up. Yeah, who is this? Do you know about me? Maybe I'm an ignorant. Do you know about me? Maybe I am Salafi. This is a disaster. Do you know about me? طيب, you know about me. You need to evaluate me. Yeah. MashaAllah, you are a scholar and you will evaluate me. Not true. So how? You judge what I do against the protocol. Mahu, you do not know the subject, but you know, at least you need to know how it is supposed to be delivered, what he is supposed to be doing, the roles he needs to fulfill, and other things like that. On the other hand, you need to learn how to respond to this, how to react, how to interact. Yeah, but if you have just one chance to learn one of two things, the manners of the Shaykh and the manners of the students, I tell you, learn the manners of the Shaykh. And in the future, you will not face this problem, at least when you become a Shaykh. More people come and say, I want to teach my friends this and that. Do you know the roles you are supposed to play? For instance, I learned from my Mashaykh that whenever you see the word وَنَحْوُهُ in a text, it's your job to tell what this is, what it means. يعني, for instance, the author says in the books of al-fiqh, الشعر والوبر والصوف, or something like wool, hair, وَنَحْوُهُ, and things like that, like wool and hair. What is this? You have to say. If you do not say it because it's understood, let's finish quickly. This is عيب يعني نقص, deficiency. And it's not good manners to do so. Tell me, if you learn these things, would you go to anyone even without, you didn't even read about them, you just attended, and you find the man explaining in a very different way, not respecting any of the protocols? This tells you one of two things. The language of possibilities, this is the honest language of possibilities. Possibility number one, he didn't learn with the Mashaykh. Possibility number two, he learned with the Mashaykh but he's not clever. Possibility number three, he didn't learn with the Mashaykh and he's not clever. What do you call it? Self-study, yeah, self-study. He studied on his own certain books and he didn't even care to read about the roles he's expecting to do or to play when he's teaching. Yani ya Mashaykh, we have a problem now. It's chaotic. And alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. And the students complain about what they encounter when I tell them do this, do not do this. When I become harsh sometimes, or lenient with others. What about reading this, let's call it a constitution that scholars dictated, so that we learn what am I expected to do, what I am expected to do, what you are expected to do. And here when I say what you are expected to do, by knowing what I am expected to do, because you have another role that you need to learn. But this is important, but it comes second in priority. Yes. غريب, عجيب. I do not make any effort in telling people join this dars of fiqh, join this dars. طبعا the admins tell me the results. They tell me you have a lot of students here, you have less students there, وهكذا. خلاص. If you Shaykh, if you have questions, let's wait until I finish. And everyone wants fiqh and everyone wants aqidah, But people do not want to learn the manners. Any manners, by the way. So, statistically, according to Al-Hasan, my only source, خلاص, according to Al-Hasan, statistically, anything that has manners in it is not popular. So when we teach Al-Adab from Mukhtasar Al-Ifadat, it's not اللهم امين واياكم بارك الله فيكم جزاكم الله خير. Al-Adab, like Mukhtasar Al-Ifadat, you see, it has, this is like course number 2, and it has few people. I do not know numbers, but Al-Hasan tells me it has few people join often, and that's it. If we teach something like the manners of reading books, we do not have a lot of people. If we teach something like the rejection or the refutation of Nawaqid al-Islam, the refutation of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab's Nawaqid al-Islam, yeah, we have a lot of people. People like these spicy things, which is good. These things are beneficial, especially in the times of al-fitan, like our time, especially when you are a Hanbali and do not know the difference between a Wahhabi and a Hanbali. When you do not know the difference between someone who is Qarn al-Shaytan, like Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, and the real followers of Ahmad ibn Hanbal and his companions. Yeah, these are beneficial. Yeah, but what about the basics, the principles? I never cared to tell people about a course before, unless the admins asked me. But this time I asked them. Yani in the past they used to ask me, tell people about this course, we think that it's important or we would need it for certain purposes. This time I told them, no, postpone everything. I need to talk, and I will talk tomorrow again, but with the students of Al Madrasa on Zoom about the importance of this course. I will detail things that YouTube is not suitable for. I'm talking about تذكرة السامع والمتكلم, the book of Ibn Jama'ah. خلاص. في أدب العالم والمتعلم, it teaches you the manners of the learner and the teacher, the scholar and the student. The details with the admins. يعني do not misunderstand what I'm doing. The details are with the admin. Just go see the page. They postponed it a week or so. See with the admins. Yeah, Shaykh, it's fine. خلاص. The point here is we have a problem. We need people to learn these things. This is really important. Actually, I tried with other students here in Egypt, and I started with them by teaching them some of that, not from a book like Ibn Jama'ah's book. And you see, it's a circle. This protocol is not just a list of laws. No, like secular laws. No, it is based on a basis. This basis has been detailed in the first course. The first course is not important for understanding this second course of the book. So we divided the book, as I said, into parts. Ask the admins for more information, ask the admins, but listen to me now. So this second one, it tells you about the manners of the scholar, the manners of al-alim, the manners of the Shaykh, and how he is supposed to interact with the students. So it has this beneficial part for the students. And if you ever become a Shaykh, you will need this. And in order to choose your Mashaykh, you need this. The circle is that this is based on the first course, which says that this is all should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we come from a religious perspective. We are not Orientalists. As I said many times before, we are not just like a secular study of al-Islam. You see, this is what most of the students do. They have hobbies, riding bicycles, swimming, and studying al-fiqh. I cannot say that I'm sincere. I cannot say that I am having ikhlas or so. I can al-ikhlas lillahi aziz. If it's for the sake of Allah, this is rare, as they said. Rare. I can never know in the first place if anything that I do is for the sake of Allah. But I remember when I started the whole thing, it was because I wanted, or I claim so, because I wanted to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I changed my activity from memorizing the Quran only, I changed this to learning about al-ilm. So I was memorizing the Quran while receiving al-ilm because I wanted more religion, not more hobbies. You do not believe me? See the type of people, but you will not see this in the West. I'm not sure if you have this in the West. See the type of people who study Islam, not Islam, who study logic from the books of Muslims, like Al-Ghazali, for instance, or Razi. They respect them, Maulana, Sayyidna, Shaykhana, but in the end, they have nothing to do with religion. They might not even have a fiqhi madhab. And if they do not have a fiqhi madhab, this means that how do they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Awam, yani you study these difficult things, you claim that they are really difficult and needed and important, and you cannot study a book of fiqh? Have you ever memorized anything in the Quran? You are being emotional. Quran should not be memorized. Okay, خلاص, the Quran should not be memorized. Just memorize al-Fatiha وَقُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. My point is, when you started the whole thing, was it religious? This book, from the very beginning, teaches you that it has to be religious. Not, you can't succeed in al-ilm without being a Muslim. You can know al-ulum without being a Muslim. If you study them every day. A kafir who knows al-ilm, an Orientalist. We have just finished reading something and we were relying on the translation of George Maqdisi. To the best of my knowledge, he was not a Muslim. And I showed people before, and I think, yeah, here it is. The book of Al-Baqillani. SubhanAllah, I found it here. I was showing the students maybe a week ago or so. This book of Al-Baqillani is edited by Father John McCarthy. Edited by a priest. You can be a scholar without being a Muslim. The thing is, it has to be religious. And when you start realizing that it has to be religious, you get to accept a principle that says, okay, we expect this person who teaches us to be following a certain protocol that is religious. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to speak now in a very general manner. What frightens me the most is the students, and I'm choosing my words, the students, when students avoid learning things like, this is general, manners, tasawwuf, not tasawwuf according to a certain tariqah, tasawwuf, tazkiyah in general. Manners, tasawwuf, and manners, this is adab, like eat with your right hand with 3 fingers, right? This is one part. And the practical part of it, tasawwuf. Because I want them to follow my tariqah? No, I do not have a tariqah. I do not have a tariqah where I am a shaykh who seeks followers, and no shaykh would seek followers. They are just liars. Liars only seek followers. It's because as a shaykh as a teacher of another subject, I suffer because of these students. They cause me troubles. Not in understanding the subject, they might be the smartest. Allah al-Musta'an. Okay. I want this, I do not say these things, but I want this video in particular to be spread. Send it to everyone who might have studied with us. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. I am well, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. I hope you are all well. Huh? Send it to everyone. You know what? Send it to the people who do not study with us, who study with other people. But yani, yani send it to our Habi if you believe that they will benefit, because yani our Habi and I, we do not yani, get along perfectly. Okay, so yani I will not be a person who appeals to Al Wahhabiyya at all. So someone who studies, who never studied with Madrasa Hanbaliya, but who studies al-ilm, who seeks al-ilm somewhere else, just tell them about this. Let them read. The book has been translated. Yeah, at least read it. At least consider learning it or studying it with the Shaykh, because this is the only appropriate way. The other ways are alternatives in the end. At least consider studying it with the Shaykh. Even in the future, maybe now you need to finish Fard al-Ayn, some of al-fiqh, some of al-Quran or so. You're not, and you are busy. You do not have time. Just learn it in the future. Have the intention to learn these things in the future. Again, let me conclude. The manners of a Shaykh, this protocol that the shuyukh are supposed to follow. I saw my shuyukh, at least a lot of them, followed this protocol without telling us that this is the protocol. We learned it, and we were thinking like, this is appropriate, this is inappropriate, you should do this, we should not do this. This is aib among the mashayikh. This is not. As a teacher, you are expected to do so, you are expected not to do so. And this explains the nature of what we are doing, this interaction. A book, Shaykh, listener or student. Yeah, have this intention, Mashaykh. Just give me the chance to answer your questions, but if they are relevant, I will answer them. If they are not, khalas, we will just leave them now. Come with your questions later. Yeah. I'm just telling you about this course that we are offering because we are offering it now. And if you know us very well, you will see that we do not usually repeat. I hate repetition. I do not like to repeat something that I taught before, unless it's in Arabic. This is a different case, a different thing. خلاص. والله المستعان. طبعا the reason why the admins didn't care is that they do not have a problem. There is another course who is covering for this course. They didn't care. Some Aqidah course or Ibn Qudama's book or so, and it's fine. But they do not see that this is crucial. If people, I'm fed up, خلاص. Listen, anyone who listens to me who thinks that I understand anything or I have any bit of knowledge, خلاص. يعني if you can, join this course. If you do not have the intention to join it now, join it later. Join it with someone else. You have to cover this book at some point. If we were doing a systematic studying of books, so you will not go to this book unless you show evidence that you studied something else, I would consider this book, this particular part of the book, a prerequisite for anything. While you are listening to me, how are you going to evaluate what you have? Unfortunately, some of the people we read with, some of the mashayikh, they used to ask us, the dars was good, how would I know? The ilm that you gave us, was it good? Yeah, it was nice. As if it was a sandwich. If you consider that I have any right, any haqq, you either follow this course, follow another course, read the book at least. At least read it. At least read this part. As again, all what I fear is that this is indication that people are not doing these things, are not considering these things. Yani this will create a type of scholars who would have in their maktaba all types of books. No adab, no tasawwuf, doesn't know what he's supposed to do, what is appropriate, what is... Yeah, خلاص, I'm fed up. That's what you said. قواعد التصوف, this is علمي book, أصولي book, yes, that teaches you some of the principles of التصوف. This needs an upper intermediate student. Okay, I want just you to now. There is a general purpose and a specific one. The general purpose, yeah, you need to learn everything that is related to the topic, including قواعد التصوف. But when the time comes, قواعد التصوف is difficult. قواعد التصوف is a book of ilm. You would be explaining principles of al-kalam, usul al-din, principles of usul al-fiqh, Arabic language. This is قواعد التصوف. And subhanallah, they are used in التصوف because التصوف is ilm. طبعا this is not a surprise, you see. So generally, قواعد التصوف is a very important book, but when the time comes. Now I'm telling you about another thing. What is the Shaykh's job? I saw an ad that says Shaykh Fulan al-Fulani is explaining this book of Ibn Uthaymeen in Usul al-Fiqh. Yeah, and he called himself al-Hanbali. Alhamdulillah, verification. Let's go, study. Khalas, we went and we started. How will you evaluate? Is there a protocol that he is supposed to follow? You know, when I was a student, even now, in any university I go to, as a teacher, as a student, as a researcher, they do the following. They give the students, the audience, something like a survey. If it's something in literature, did he say some Arabic words? Was it easy to something like, was it easy to understand him, how he communicated with you? So it teaches them how to evaluate this person, and it asks them to answer certain questions or to give a mark or something. So it does both things, but this is in the academic world. Things are different with the mashayikh, and things are more complicated. This is reality. Things are more complicated. Let's finish. I see that. يعني طبعا my apologies if I missed your comment and it was important. My apologies. أيوه. Alhamdulillah that I am beneficial. أيوه. لا محمد عبد الوهاب is قرن الشيطان, not like قرن الشيطان. He is قرن الشيطان. Ibn Humayd called him, so I believe it was correct. طيب. Anything that has to do with the course, go to the admins on the page or something. وأنا الله يحفظكم يا شيخ محمد. نعم. شيخ محمد. I do not teach privately. I do not teach privately. Yeah, Maulana, this course is very, very important. This course is beneficial for anyone, even the ones who didn't start studying al-ilm, but they have the intention. Yeah. If they do not have the intention, then I cannot even call it a waste of time then. But if they have the intention to study al-ilm and they start with this, it would be perfect. It will explain to them who is this? This person who is wearing whatever. What is his job? It's like the job description, but in a way that it's not in a secular way, in a way that considers that all this is done or supposed to be for the sake of Allah. Yes, I do not teach privately here in Egypt. I do not have like private students here in Egypt. I have durus in Egypt. Come to the durus. You are welcome. And the one who asked about the privately teach privately, there is nothing wrong with what you said. Wallahi, but please, at some point, consider studying this part of the book. Please, Ya Maulana, please. For you, I will not benefit. Yeah. So anyone will benefit from this, yes. Do you recommend studying? Wafikum barakallah. Do you recommend studying small texts on Aqidah before learning it? La ya Mawlana. This has nothing to do with the Aqidah. Has nothing to do with... It might have... who knows? When I sit and explain, al-ilm is all connected, خلاص, and things overlap. Ya Mawlana. Lakin it has... This is a book of manners, not a book of tasawwuf. It will tell you a shaykh is supposed to be so and so. A shaykh is supposed to be... I wanted to finish in 30 minutes, yeah, Sheikh Naveed, but let me do this. One moment. So it starts with his manners in himself. What does this mean? He will start talking about something that the Sufiya teaches, al-muraqabah, to watch himself. This is the first principle for a teacher, to watch himself, to do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani, something like what you learn when you read the hadith of Jibreel, hadith Jibreel, when he asked the Prophet ﷺ what al-ihsan is. خلاص? And he will keep talking about this. The second principle, to protect al-ilm, the same way a Salaf protected it. Here, you as a student, you change as a student who will never teach. خلاص? Although here is another thing. When I was a student, my mashayikh always told me, when you become a shaykh, you will do so and so. And unless you have this intention, which is sometimes called nifaq riya, hubb al-shuhra, stuff like that, which is a very good intention that by some ignorance that is discouraged, that is ruined by some ignorance, that you need to deliver what you received one day. One day. Not when you decide, when they tell you, when someone tells you, when you are certain that you are qualified, when you seek permission from the person whom you trust the most, or your Sufi Shaykh, if you have a Sufi Shaykh. How to protect al-ilm. This makes you see things differently. Do I need to protect al-ilm? Does this person need to... I thought that al-ilm was originally protected. خلاص? This book doesn't... doesn't doesn't aim at teaching you al-aqa'id or anything related or based on al-aqa'id unless it's the aqidah that every Muslim knows. خلاص. يعني I'm just afraid to exaggerate, but even the Salafis would know the basics to understand this. The basics needed to understand this. Allah المستعان. طيب, let's finish. الحمد لله الذي حفظكم من الوهابية يا مولانا الشيخ يا شيخ محمد. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. طيب, this is enough. Please share this with people whom you care for. About the principle itself. Forget about the course. Just forget. Do not even tell them about the course. Just tell them about the concept. Share this either by sharing the video or by sharing the word. Tell them that we heard a person saying so and so, or it's very important. Do not even mention me. Just tell them it's very important to study so and so. The claim is, if you do not study this, you'll be studying like an Orientalist. If you do not know what a Shaykh is, you'll not know how to evaluate people. طبعا, in the first place, you should study with someone that studied with al-Mashayikh in the first place. But even the one who studied with al-Mashayikh, if he doesn't respect the protocol, I call it protocol, it's never called protocol if he doesn't have these manners. How would you benefit from him? Allah al-Musta'an. Barakallahu feekum. I hope you benefited. And yes, so Sheikh, yeah, خلاص. I hope you benefited, and I hope you think about what I said. If you have any questions related to this matter, send it to the our Facebook page. I will ask Al Hassan to bring me these questions that are related to this matter. If you have in the future, I need to do this. In the future, but I cannot organize a lot of things now. I'm really busy. In the future, I want to have something like what you have in the university, advising, an advisor. خلاص. Hopefully, inshallah, we will have something like this, so that we aid people, we help people with what to do. Even the students here in Egypt, even senior students here in Egypt, whom I thought to be knowledgeable about how to do these things. Some of them, they were my peers, but they didn't develop at all. I became a teacher and they are still studying, and they came to study with me to teach them certain books. I thought that they never needed guidance. Apparently, people need guidance, but maybe they know, maybe they do not know. Until we do this, if you need any guidance, someone did this. Someone came to the madrasa, said, I want to study 20 books that you did before. I need to do this. I do not know how. I respect this person. I want to meet him. I cannot find any time. I do not know how, and he wants to study 20 books. The admin sent me a message. I made a plan for him to study with 4 books, then a book, then another book, then a third book. Then certain books can be done randomly. Other books has to be done in a certain order. If you need guidance, please ask someone. Doesn't have to be us. Ask someone. Go to a sheikh whom you trust. Most importantly, this book I told you about, you have to read it. At least read it on your own. Imagine this. This is the worst way you can do anything. The worst way to read on your own. But even when you read on your own and you understand like 30% appropriately, we will have something to build on. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullahu khairan. See you inshallah soon. There are videos that we are preparing, so I guess inshallah I will see you soon, and we will have other live sessions soon. For the students of the madrasa, we will have another live session on Zoom tomorrow to talk about the same thing, but I will have to mention I will have to mention certain details that are related to what we have studied before, what we are studying now, and the plan of the madrasa. I couldn't do this here. It would take more than an hour to explain this alone. So the students of the madrasa, please, you will receive a message on the general Telegram group from Sheikh Musa or so, and we will meet tomorrow, the time he will tell you, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.